Bramborough back with some Grand Tactician Civil War Union campaign that we are playing in the 1.07, which is live, no longer beta. Okay, we are basically in the middle of winter, the 1861-1862 winter. It is Christmas Eve, December 24th, and things have quieted down a little bit. We do have a little bit of activity still going on. Before I get into that, in the last episode, we got our Springfield rifle muskets delivered, 50,000 of them, and then ordered another 50,000. That may be enough to cover us for the rest, at least for the foreseeable future, if not the rest of the campaign. That's 100,000 rifles. So those have been issued to the troops. Once again, all the brigades and all of the existing armies, except for in the recruiting depots, I didn't do them, but all the other forces, including the Cumberland Corps and Grant's Army, which was not fully rifle armed. Anyway, all the brigades have Springfield rifle muskets now. We also saw in a recent battle that I had missed a battery that had the mere 6-pound field guns, and I went back through all of the forces to double check that, and there are no 6-pound field guns in the armies. The overwhelming majority of artillery units are still armed with smoothbores, mostly 24-pound howitzers. There's a few Napoleons here and there. We still don't have very much rifled artillery, but that, of course, is on the way as well. We've got a pretty big batch of 3-inch ordnance and wired 6-pounders, which those orders are getting pretty close to delivered as well. Okay. Also, got a comment asking if I had recruited a United States Marine Corps brigade in this campaign, and I had not. Asked if the gentleman would like me to do so. The answer, of course, was yes. So I've done that as well. Here in the Eastern Department, right here beside Gibbons Iron Brigade, we have a U.S. Marine Corps brigade. And what was asked for was the appropriate color for the nation, in this case Union. So a blue coat, kepi, white trousers. And so that's how I've done their uniform. I don't... see, they are rifle musket armed. I don't have any long-range sniper-type rifles available. These fellows might get Whitworths in the future. Who knows? And I put them under the command of John Davidson. He was just about the best West Point infantry-specific officer I had available. And 2 stars and everything is pretty good, and no doubt his fame will come up as well. Okay, the theaters. There's been some activity in Virginia, but for now, I think the rebel armies are pretty much beaten back, at least for the moment. We do have this small siege battle going on where the Hampton Division came up to besiege the 5,000-man army, now 4,500-man army. Decided it was a good idea to come up and besiege the almost 20,000-man army, and that continues in our favor. McClellan remains quietly in winter quarters in West Virginia. How are our small cav scouting force? I hesitate to use the term cavalry corps, although it is a corps level command. They're still regaining readiness at Winchester after their winter march into Confederate territory. Grant remains in winter quarters at Nashville. Isaac Stevens, Cumberland Corps, still working on his supply depot, getting pretty close to done. And once he gets in a better supply situation, he will resume the effort against these forts on the Tennessee and Cumberland rivers. And our West Scouting Force had come down to spot. There are two armies there. It looks like it's hard to read through the Army of Georgia and Polk's Command, both here at this location. However, the Army of Mississippi is chasing our cav away. Remains to be seen if they're going to be able to get away without initiating contact. If they don't, well, I'll just withdraw them. It's not a big deal. And finally, up here in Missouri, now that we know that where is that guy? We saw the Army of the West, or the Western Army, excuse me. The Confederate side, it's called the Western Army, had come over here close to Nashville. We apparently don't have sight on him at the moment. But that would suggest that the Missouri State Guard does not have any support in or near Missouri. So I think what I'm going to do, Lyons, Missouri Army, looks like they're in pretty good shape. As far as supply and attrition, and they're all rifle armed, and they got some Napoleons for artillery support. Let's see, 5 guns. It'll be a small battle, but I think what I'd like to do is come in here, even though it's wintertime, and push the Missouri State Guard away. I'd kind of like to get them retreating further away before they get more men, and deprive them of this supply depot, which will make it more difficult for them to march up towards St. Louis later. The whole idea of the theater plan in Missouri is simply to remain static and to defend St. Louis, Missouri. As long as we can do that, I think Missouri State support will remain okay and a viable source of recruitment. First, though, what else is worth mentioning? Our frigates are getting pretty close. I think that they're going to be ready just after New Year's. And then we will begin a little bit of a naval/amphibious campaign as 1862 opens. Before we get Lyon moving over in Missouri, though, let's see if the Cav can slip past the Army of Mississippi. You know, I should have force-marched him. Wait a minute. Wait. Does he still have the order? He does. Okay. Sometimes, not all, usually not. Every now and then, one of these movement orders will get erased by a save and reload. Okay. Rear guard action. Okay. That's fine too. So even though there wasn't contact for a battle, he's basically in retreat mode now and is headed straight for Nashville, which is perfectly fine. Okay, it's the day after Christmas now. Oh, here comes Polk's Command. Let's see what kind of nonsense he gets up to. Anyway, that little Confederacy has gone to military too. We knew they were working on that from the last intel report. Speaking of policies and projects, we are working on Militia Act 4, and we're still about a little over 3 weeks away from completing that. And there is nothing immediately demanding in the projects realm. I think what I'm most interested in procuring next for projects is organization reform, so that we can get these forces organized into armies, proper armies. Alright, let's go ahead and move in on Missouri State Guard before he gets that extra 1,000 men. Army of Mississippi staying put. Polk's command apparently staying put. Alright. How about we get our cav? Be a good spot for them to go. We could do this. Say, Cav, how about y'all come on down over here to... Well, that may have to... That'll have to wait till later. Okay. Well, it turns out that this Missouri State Guard's a little bit smaller than we thought it was. We've got almost twice as much infantry. He does have some cav. Pretty small forces, but this will be a nice little battle. Okay, we are on the Wilson's Creek map. Those who have been watching my Grand Tactician campaigns for a while will be quite familiar with this. We've fought on this map a ton in the last campaign. Usually in the, well, I think every time, in the defensive posture. We're attacking this time. This is not a great map upon which to attack because of Wilson's Creek itself, the fords, and the terrain. So I do not intend to march straight toward the objective, because even if the rebels don't quite set up specifically defending on Wilson's Creek, you know, they could set up something a little different and still wind up with a pretty good position. So I think what I'm going to do, we're up here on the Wire Road. I think I'm going to take the army slowly over here, cross this branch somewhere up here, and then get up onto Oak Hill and approach the objective from this direction. Now at some point, and that'll probably take until day 2 to do that, and at some point the CSA will catch wind of what we're doing and reorient to face us, but I think the ground will be a little bit better. You know, avoid creeks, avoid the big creek, and I'm just going to see how that works out. So I've got a fair amount of deployment and marching to do. Also, I don't have any cavalry to come over here and scout out what's going on around the objective, so I'll probably put out some skirmishers to come down to about where the wind place is and see what's going on around the Wynn, Manly, Sharp locations. All right. I'll be back. Send some skirmishers up this way near the objective. Here they are right here and here and here. And predictably enough, the Confederates set up some parapets right here facing this ford. That looks like a position I would have set up. And this is exactly what I did not want to attack into. And the army is moving over this way. So it's about noon on day 2, but I figure, you know, we got plenty of time. We found out in the last campaign, battles can go on for a week. It's not like the time expires, so just kind of stopping where we are, and I'm having all these brigades build breastworks to open up their perk slots. I figure, it's an opportunity. Let's do that. So I think the fighting will probably start maybe sometime on day 3. Meanwhile, all the skirmishers are kind of over here, just keeping an eye on the Confederates. They did not do any kind of redeployment during the overnight deployment phase. Okay, it's the morning of day 4, December 31st. It's New Year's Eve, 8 o'clock in the morning, and something kind of interesting happened. While I was over here futzing around for a couple of days building all these, it took a little bit longer for them to get all their perk slots than I thought it was going to. And because of that, they did accrue a lot of objective points, so we're pretty close to the... we went a little bit further off dead center on the defeat victory slider than I would have liked. But last night, overnight, they shifted to the other side of the river, leaving the objective point. Didn't really expect that, but they did. And so we were able to just walk up and take it yesterday after we got all our breastworks done. And so the shape of the deployment zone left it so that I couldn't really use their vacated breastworks completely. So, and it was, it was going to be awkward to try to run over here to the fence and kind of establish. Anyway, I've just set up back along this fence line, which is also right on the edge of woods. That's where the 4 infantry brigades are. The 2 artillery batteries are right here in the middle, behind the fence. And we've got skirms kind of along in here. Maybe the skirms can come up here and get in these parapets. Anyway, that's where we're at. And just before dark, this flipped from attacking to defensive situation because we had the objective. And the rebels started reacting to that, and now they're ready to come across the creek, which I could really take advantage of. And I will a little bit with skirms, but edge of the deployment zone. Yeah, you know what? Let's get Andrews right up here on the edge of the deployment zone, and I'll put him in these parapets. He and the skirmishers can contest this, and once they get across, I may pull him back to the flanks, since he will be a little bit exposed. Those skirms was being covered. Doing fine though. Haven't taken any casualties. Beating up on this little MSG cav brigade over here. Actually a pretty big cav brigade for this time of the war. Okay. Let's go ahead and pull in Sturgis's skirmishers before they break. kind of amazed at how few losses most of these skirmisher units are taking. They just win by themselves. Okay, Andrew's skirms is starting to take some losses here. Oh, these guys aren't taking any losses because that cab doesn't have long range enough weapons to return fire. Let's pull Andrew's skirms in. Well, that's just skirms there. Greg's detachment. Okay. They don't want to move now. Go move backward. No. Okay. And they're not. They're just not going to be responsive. I'm just going to pull it in. I think our cab has taken some, or our artillery rather. Looks like they're taking maybe some counter battery. No, only 2 losses. I think that might be overnight attrition rather than. I don't think those are combat losses. Seagull skirms. Oh, you pull them in. Let them hang out too long. Tyler skirmisher's low on ammunition. Job here. 750 to 200. 11% of his force already. MSG Cavalry, 300 men down. MSG Infantry Brigade, 300 men down. Estimates, of course. Trimble's Brigade, 100 men down. And Posey's lost almost 100. There's the Cav routed. And just rotating, face these skirmishers. Okay. Tyler skirmishers engaging these skirms as well. Return fire, but if I move him forward, he may lose the cover of the parapets. I think he'll still get some. Yeah. Sturgis, bring your guys in. Banging away. I don't think they've taken any casualties. Combat casualties. How are we doing on ammo for the artillery? Not doing bad. Not doing bad at all. Okay. They don't look too keen on advancing. They are standing out there in the middle of this field. Let's move Tyler up to here first. let's go ahead and move this division in. Oh, Lion, you need to be over here, bro. Skirmishers have done their job, pulling them in as the main brigades pass by. Well, these skirmishers are still screening ahead of Sturgis. Let them do that as long as they care to. Okay, now the main brigades are getting involved. Retreat has commenced. Plus 23.6% of his force, 17 out of 1,700 out of 7,000 men. We've lost about 350. Power of the skirmishers. Okay, let's try to make sure this artillery doesn't get out of here unscathed. Okay, that artillery is broken. This basically everything inside is broken, and yeah, we're not going to catch anything. Not with just infantry. All right. Okay, just before we hit the battle screen, let's have a look at our casualties here. almost 1,700 exactly inflicted. First Division 580. Those, I think that was the division over on the right. Yeah, Siegel and Sturgis. In Second Division, 1,000. Artillery did 85. Given they only had 8 guns among the 2 batteries. Maybe not even that. All right, they did. Everybody did just fine there. And I think the overwhelming majority of the casualties from the infantry was inflicted by the skirmishers, I would imagine. There you have it. Well, this says 2,200 of 8,000. That may just be a high estimate. Lost all of his guns. He only had 5. And yeah, we had 8 guns. So Price will be compelled to retreat from Lebanon, which will uncover that supply depot, which we can suck drive artillery ammo into. Well, actually, our artillery is so small, they may not empty the supply depot the way an army typically does. Lyon picks up some fame. Good for him. Well deserved. But in any case, I don't intend to hang on to that supply depot, because then we got to pay to restock the thing. I'm just going to walk on back up to Rolla and burn that thing down. And then the next time that Price wants to head up towards St. Louis, he's not going to have that supply depot, and he's going to have to stop there and build another one, spending about $5 million more out of the rebel treasury. 250 guys captured to go into our overcrowded prison camp. Okay, and since I spent most of that time sitting on a hillside building breastworks, this is going to go on for this. They'll be frozen there on the campaign map until New Year's Day or the 2nd of January or something like that. Actually, I could burn it down. How much stuff is in the supply depot? Yeah, quite a bit, especially for an army as small as Lyon's army. So they'll be in fine shape, supply-wise. Should be. He does need to restock all of his stuff. Once he's back up to 100% on everything, we'll just go back over to Rolla and burn this thing down. Okay. And I think that will do for this episode. If you like what we're doing with the channel, if you like this content, then leave a like, leave a comment, maybe even subscribe if that strikes your fancy. If you haven't seen all the other episodes in this series, I'm linking the playlist here. At any rate, thank you very much for... Nope, I forgot one other thing. I'm sure quite a few viewers of this channel may be familiar with a gent named Lucky Luke, who's a pretty good... He does content on quite a few other games, but he's also done quite a bit of Grand Tactician Civil War, and I think he's a pretty good player with this game. I like his style on the tactical battlefield. And Lucky Luke has started a new Confederate campaign. I linked the episode 1 of that campaign at the end of the previous episode, but I did not mention it because at the time I did not know he had posted that yet. So I just wanted to mention it in commentary. Check out Lucky Luke's campaign. Good Grand Tactician player, and his Grand Tactician videos deserve more views. All right. Thank you very, very much for watching. I appreciate it.